Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Prescribed Fire and Smoke Briefing for Wednesday, May 7th, 2025. Prescribed fire activity is ongoing across mainly northern portions of the Great Basin, western Idaho, northern Utah, and there's a fire outside of Reno this morning. Looking at yesterday's precipitation here, most of the precip was focused over Utah yesterday, and we did have some impressive totals down on the Dixie. A site picked up 1.2 inches. Otherwise, most of the totals were in the maybe zero point 0.4 to zero point 0.5 inches on the higher end, and then further north, some lighter precip amounts, but generally a good precip day. And was day 3 of the precipitation event. So if we look at precipitation for the 7 days preceding yesterday, we had a couple good days ahead before that over Idaho, western Wyoming, northern Utah, and southern Utah saw some of the biggest totals over the previous 7 days as well. The 30 days percent of normal, still looking pretty dry out there, although recent storms have shown a little bit of an improvement compared to climatology over southern Utah. Again, probably too little too late, but will help green up anyway right now. But some dry spots, western Wyoming or western Idaho, southern Idaho, eastern Nevada, northern Utah. There are a lot of dry spots out there for the month of April. Snowfall for the past 72 hours does show here that we did see some snow with some of these storms, especially over eastern Idaho and Wyoming and the higher elevations of Utah, including southern Utah. This morning satellite imagery shows a couple of features going on here. We still have this low pressure system that brought us a lot of that wet weather over the past couple of days. It's now located or centered over western Arizona. That's going to continue to work its way eastward. But the other feature we're looking at is this broad high pressure beginning to move into the western U.S. That's going to be bringing some lovely spring, actually summer-like weather in the coming days. So for today, drying and warming across the area. There's still some moisture in place over far eastern and southeastern Utah, which could kick off some more isolated type storms today. Ventilation rates are fair in some areas, but we will see some decrease here and there with the high pressure building in. Transport winds are generally light today, maybe just a little bit breezier over the west central Idaho mountains, and mixing heights are pretty good area wide. Tomorrow, the low moves off to the east. It's not part of our story anymore, and we'll just see that high pressure ridge continuing to build into the western U.S., bringing warming and drying area wide. Ventilation rates kind of decreasing across portions of northern Utah and eastern Nevada. Transport winds remain low on Thursday underneath that ridge. Mixing heights are still elevated across certain areas, but are coming down a little bit over northern Utah and parts of Idaho there. On Friday again, same story, high pressure ridge expanding across the western U.S., really making its way quite far north into Idaho and the northern Rockies. Ventilation rates decreasing over Utah. Generally light transport winds again, just some breezier conditions in the far western portions of the area. Mixing heights staying generally high because the air mass is so warm for the time of year. The next couple of days here, we're looking at the clearing index for Utah. Pretty favorable values today. Tomorrow, we'll see them decreasing a bit over western Utah, and then that area of lower values further expands north and west, but still above that 500 or 400 value benchmark. 3-day precip totals are shown here. Again, just looking for some light precip amounts today as the moisture still lingers associated with that low before we clear out beginning tomorrow. Saturday is going to be a very warm day. We see southwest flow increasing across the area, bringing warm temperatures ahead of another low pressure system beginning to move in. It really won't make its way here until the first of next week, but ventilation rates improving as we see some stronger winds moving into the area. All right, Saturday is our hottest day of the week. Again, looking for 90 degrees in Boise and mid to upper 90s across much of the rest of the area over the lower elevations. If we look at the departure from normal, again, we're looking at 15 to 20, 23 degrees above normal for the time of year. Some of these areas may be looking at records. Really, we need to be up into the upper 80s or 90s to talk about records, but very warm for the time of year. Conditions stay warm for your Mother's Day. That low pressure system strengthens a bit off the west coast, but stays there on Sunday with ventilation rates favorable across the area. And again, just looking at your Mother's Day here, wind speeds ahead of that low pressure system are going to bring some gusty winds to portions of the area, especially Nevada, western Utah, and up into eastern Idaho. So keep that in mind for your plans. But the temperatures will again remain very warm, maybe a little bit cooler on Mother's Day than Saturday, but still very warm for the time of year. And then on Monday, we'll begin to see that impacts of the low pressure system moving in, continued gusty winds, maybe some higher RHs, and a chance of precip moving into the northern portions of the area beginning on Monday, and ventilation rates very high. On Tuesday, that low continues to swing through the Great Basin again, bringing best chance for precip is going to be over the northern half of the area, some wind further south. Precipitation accumulations for days 4 and 5. This is Saturday through Monday, so not a whole lot. Some precip coming in that Sunday to Monday time for really Monday time frame as that low swings in. And then Monday to Wednesday here, we're going to see a better chance of some precip, especially to the central Idaho mountains with that low pressure system. Maybe a little bit of precip in northern Nevada and northern Utah as well. The extended forecast for May 14th through the 20th is calling for below normal temperatures across the western U.S. and above normal chances for precipitation over the bulk of the Great Basin as well. So even though we're headed for some hot and dry weather this weekend, it's not going to last. So we'll take that as a win. That concludes today's briefing. Please check back on Friday for the latest updates.